Let's get ready to ramble. Let's get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Hello and welcome to another movie review from MBE. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and hopefully our Twitch stream as
I think
well.
We're on Twitch, yeah.
We are here on this Friday night, the first live show we've done in a little while, so we might be a little bit rusty, but we are doing Three Idiots tonight. We are not the Three Idiots, we are the three professionals.
Some might say.
John, Ruth and myself. The Three Idiots are, of course, Amir Khan, Madhavan, and Sharman Joshi. I knew I'd get that wrong, Ruth. But listen, this is such a strong cast. We've got the likes of Mona Singh in there as well, Kareena Kapoor. The list goes on and on. We've actually got a little cameo from our man
Ali Faisal
as well.
Yes.
Who plays a very cool character, but a very tragic character, very short and sweet. But I don't know if he was
character.
famous at this point. Maybe Ruth could correct me or not. If I was dabbling, what should I say? That's a cameo, or was it just maybe a breakthrough part? I'm not really sure for 2009.
It was. I mean, they refer to it as a cameo appearance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a
fair
cameo
enough.
appearance. Yeah.
My first dabble with that guy was Victoria and Abdul, and he was absolutely fantastic.
John, you mentioned that the other day when we were doing the reaction for
Nurse,
yeah, and I knew the face, but I didn't know the name at that point. But a great guy.
Three Idiots. I think this movie was for him. The third movie, I think.
Oh, right, okay, wow,
that's impressive.
Because I think he had a like a short appearance, a small one in the other end of the line. Have you seen that movie before?
No, I've not seen that. No.
It was like,
unless you have, John, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
English movie,
Yeah.
It was like a romantic movie that was done like I don't know whether it was an Indian director.
Yeah,
I think,
he definitely is. He's the standout actor in that television series that we're watching so far. We're only 2 episodes in, to be fair, but he's a standout as far as we're concerned at the moment. 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb, directed by Rajkumar Hirani. Hope I said that right. And as always, we're going to pass this over to Jonathan.
This is
who's going to take us through
scary
this
because to say that I'm slurring my words and stuff at times is an understatement. So I'm having a bit of a mare tonight. So we'll bring this up and hopefully it's the correct graphic, and we'll realign it because everything in this OBS is out of alignment. Everything.
OBS.
Yes. This is how we rate our movies. This is our rating system. Bear this in mind when you get to the end of the review, if indeed you do manage to get to the end of the review, and you'll see how this movie fits into this scale here. F is for terrible, average is the D- through plus range, good is the C- through plus range, excellent is the B- through plus range, and topping it off at the end, the creme de la creme is perfection. It is A, it is gold to signify that A is perfection. That's how we rate our movies, that's our rating system. We shall see in probably about 50 minutes where this movie fits into this system. I'm going to say about 50 minutes because we always aspire to get it 30 minutes, but it never ever ends up 30 minutes long. Usually ends about an hour, 50 minutes if we're really concise. With that in mind, let's get into it, man. What was your thoughts going in? I'm actually going to do this here because I'll come out and admit the first time I discovered this movie was through Jabby Coy. I seen on his channel they were doing a sort of watch along or even reviewing it. I was obviously aware of Amir Khan. We'd done a load of reactions for this guy. God, what's the Pirates one that flopped called? I can't recall. There's a Pirates one he did that flopped. But also Dangal, we watched Dangal. I was aware of this guy. He's an incredible actor. One of the best actors in the whole of India, not just North India. I think he is a Hindi actor. So I was aware of this guy. Wasn't really aware of Three Idiots though. It was really Jabby Coy. I seen it on his sort of recommended it come up because we do a lot of reactions. He does a lot of reactions. I'm not trying to put us in the same caliber as Jabby Coy. He's like the biggest sort of channel for reactions alongside his brother over in wherever the fuck Greg Alba's from, Stephen, I don't know. That was my first brush with this movie. Getting into this, I wasn't really aware of what it was about. I just knew it was Three Idiots. I had an idea it may have been a sort of coming of age movie. What was your thoughts, Stephen? Because I'll go to you because Ruth will probably have a very different experience with this movie, perhaps. I don't know, Ruth. Been a little bit, When you go, Steve. Yes.
First time I clapped eyes on this was probably the poster on Netflix. I don't know why I stayed away from it because we'd already watched Dangal at this point, so I knew Amir Khan was a very good actor. It wasn't like I'm not watching that. That'll be rubbish. I don't know why I stayed away from it. I mean, I tend to look at films on Netflix and I go, I'm going to see what the ratings are and see how other people portray this film. 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb, so it's a very good rated film, and rightly so, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yes. Perhaps.
Mad Haven as well. We weren't really sure, other than Vikram Vedha. I think we did at that point.
Yeah,
John.
Vikram
I know
Vedha.
we did what was the horror film we did again a couple of weeks ago?
Yavarum Nalam.
Yes.
I'm not going to repeat that, Ruth.
That was a good one. That was
I'm
the
not
one
be able to top that. So.
with the apartment, wasn't it?
And it was unrecognisable.
Was that a space movie as well that we reacted to? He part produced, maybe directed and acted in. It was this sort of scientist hopping all over the world.
The rocket, the rocket movie,
Rocketry,
right?
I called it
Rocketry.
Rocketry. Yeah, Rocketry.
Rocketry.
Try to make it sound more
I mean,
Indian or something. I don't know why I said that.
See, because it's an Indian movie doesn't mean every word's in Indian. It was just
John,
English.
That's what I want to mention. This is probably the film, out of all the films we've reviewed so far in Indian cinema, that's got the most English dialect in it. That's just intersliced with, obviously. Yeah, it is. And
English.
You have to. Sometimes you're drawn to the English naturally because that's our native tongue, and then you're drawn down to the subtitles right away after. I'm not used to it, but it was great.
But I have noticed that, Stephen, and I don't know if Ruth can maybe fill in for why this is the case, but sometimes when you are watching an Indian movie, be it south, north, whatever the dialect language is, there is occasions where they'll fling in an English word, and I don't know if it's just a case of there isn't a direct translation into English. And maybe English is the only...
No, it's not, because it's just very natural. Most, you will not only just find it in Indian, just Indian language films, but sometimes even in Asian. I come from Singapore originally, and with the Asian background that's there, we tend to intermingle the conversation. So you'd have a sentence that could be spoken in English, but it would have a mixture of some Indian words in it or some Malay words in it, because that's the other language that, and sometimes it can even have some Chinese words in it because those are the major populations in Singapore. So we usually coin the term Singlish because it's a mixture of English with all these other Singaporean languages.
It's very interesting.
So in India also it's the same thing. They are very used to talking in Tamil or Hindi or whatever, and then adding English words in, and it's very natural. I mean, they don't try to do it. It's not done like on purpose. It's just their natural dialogue. It's only you would have people speaking purely in that language only if they really are not very versed in English.
You've always get that influence, haven't you?
That's the only mode of communication. But as long as they know how to speak in English or something like that, you're going to find that in the speech quite often.
Yeah, that's it. I've just noticed it when I've watched, and obviously English is probably the major language worldwide. I don't want to be presumptuous and say that, because you have got China and you've got Russia, and they're huge, massive countries that have huge influence. But with the influence of pop culture, American TV shows and stuff like that, obviously it will rub off, and that'll be why they'll maybe drop it in on occasions. It's interesting because I have seen it. But getting into this, man. Oh, sorry, Ruth, I'll ask you. I'm getting ahead of myself. What was your mindset getting into this movie? When did you first see this movie? What was your thoughts in the build up to it?
Yeah, this movie, I heard it, I heard the title first. I heard there was a new American movie that came out. It's called 3 Idiots. And I'm thinking 3 Idiots. Okay, I don't want to watch the movie because I'm thinking it's gonna be, like one of those slapstick things.
Dumb and Dumber.
But it's American is acting in it. So chances are it's not gonna be a dumb movie,
Yeah.
So because by that time I already know he has been acting in more movies that have some sort of a message, or it's more serious than that kind of stuff. So I went into it hoping it would be a good movie because of him at the helm, and of course I know Madhavan, so from all the South Indian films as well. So I was quite excited to watch it, and so that's how I was drawn to watch the movie.
Is this a Hindi movie? And they've just got Madhavan up.
It's a Hindi movie, and Madhavan has been known to act in quite a few Hindi movies. over a period of
See,
time.
I'd love to see.
Although he's frequently in Tamil and stuff, but he has acted in a few.
I'd love to see Telepathy doing that, dabbling in different regions. I know he's working with potentially a Telugu actor-director for the next one
he's
after
also
Beast.
Doing a cameo with
Shah Rukh Khan, potentially in a Shah Rukh Khan movie.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact Vijay Sethupathi worked in a couple of different regions, and I'd love to see him dabbling with maybe a Hindi movie. I know that maybe creates some issues.
Sometimes it's a comfort level.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a comfort level because I have no doubt, because since Hindi is national language, I have no doubt that Telepathy Vijay speaks it.
Yeah, he's an intelligent
guy.
I
think he might not be very comfortable and a bit self-conscious that he might not do it justice.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a reason why he hasn't dabbled in Hindi movies yet.
He doesn't have to be fair. The guy's a superstar. He's doing his thing. He's making a lot of money. He's got a huge fan base. People all over the world know of him. So just keep on doing what you're doing, Joseph. Things are going well for you, mate. And I'm looking forward to Beast.
Yeah,
but look,
even the Telugu project that's coming up, it's something new for him.
Yeah, he's one way an actor, I think, and the actual director's a prominent Telugu director, because we spoke about it before, and I'm looking forward to that. I want to see different actors from different regions working with this guy. He's worked with Pooja Hedge as well, who's Telugu, I'm pretty sure, because she was in, what was she in, Pooja Hedge? We reacted, was it Triple R? It isn't Triple R, what was she in that we reacted, did we watch something with Pooja Hedge now that I think of it?
John, I can't remember.
But I know she's a Telugu actor, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure Pooja's a Telugu actor.
We covered her quite a bit in the news as well.
The song, is it? The song you've reacted to a few songs that she did with Allu Arjun.
Yeah. And he's Telugu, isn't he? Is that like from a Telugu region? So I'm getting off on tangents here. We're not even reviewing this movie.
Listen, it suits me because I'm trying to get rid of some of the chat.
Yeah, we'll get some spam in the chat.
Some spam.
Right, we'll get that out of our systems. Telugu, Tamil and Hindi. We'll get into this review here. I can speak about it. It fascinates me, the different regions, the different superstars within these regions. And when they start sort of dabbling, it does, it intrigues me. But look, getting into this movie, what was your thoughts on the story, the writing, the directing, development of the characters, the way it ebbed and flowed? I tell you, this is a movie which does feature a lot of character development. The Raja character, is it Raja, is that what his name is? Raju character in particular develops a hell of a lot. This is a guy that Rancho calls scared in a sense. He's fearful of, he's so scared that he can't really move into the future, and that's holding him back. He's scared of disappointing his family, keeping his family under the poverty line, if you'd like. This character develops a huge amount to the point where he's standing up in front of an interview at the end, nearly walking away from a job offer.
He's in a wheelchair, John.
In a wheelchair, swinging away and rolling away from a job interview. But he stands up after and pulls his pants down. So
yeah.
I'm like, you're at it.
That initiation.
Oh, Jesus Christ, we'll get into that. That was incredible. I felt for Rancho when he walked in. He's like, what the fuck have I got myself into here? But there's a lot of development. There's a lot of development for the Raju character. There's a lot of development for the, is it Farhan character that's played by Madhavan? This guy goes from being scared of his family, scared of disobeying his father, to really standing in on his own 2 feet and taking his family on to pursue his passion. I thought the writing was pretty good. It was like a coming of age movie to me. It was almost in the same vein of an American Pie from the early 2000s, but more drama driven in parts than that could ever have hoped to have been, or those movies could ever have hoped to have been. What a poignant, tragic moments in here that they wouldn't have dreamed of getting near. Lots of drama stuff, lots of real human condition stuff going on in here, mixed with that coming of age sort of scenario, if you like.
Mature comedy,
I thought the story was very, very interesting indeed. What was your thoughts on it? I'll go to Ruth, because I went to you first, Stephen, before. We'll try and mix it up a bit. What was your thoughts on the story, Ruth? What did you make of the writing, the development of characters, the way it flowed, themes explored, stuff like that?
Yeah, I thought the writing was really good. It was actually, I think, loosely based on a novel. It was loosely based on a novel, I think, written by Chetan Bhagat or something like that. It was a book called 5 Point Someone. So what I liked about it was that it was deceptively, it seemed like a very simple comedy film, but then it had such a depth of information, right in the middle, like after the initial part, it starts off very lightly and is very jokey, that kind of thing, and then after that, it just becomes serious all of a sudden.
It does. And right after the first song,
so
the change in tone was incredible.
Exactly, and what I liked about it was that it gave you that feeling that you could make a comedy, but you could do one that had a message, and had a really good serious message, and you could actually discuss very serious issues, from a comedy standpoint as well, which I think is a very good piece of storytelling, because very often people might think that the two genres don't mix, but they do. Yeah,
they do. Stephen, what was sorry if I'm cutting you off here, I thought you were done there. I don't know if you are done. Stephen, what was your thoughts on the story? Because what he says, Ruth, was very interesting there. This sense that you can't dabble in that within that specific comedy-driven coming-of-age genre, I feel like. You can't really dabble in drama. And that's not something I feel we've had a lot of over here. I've not actually seen, what was the one with Hayley Steinfeld? There was one with her, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember, I'll think of it in a minute. Well, I think that may have been similar. It was a coming of age, but it was drama driven. But in the main, we don't.
You've got to have a talent for it. So Ruth's absolutely right. It's a very hard thing to cross both genres over. As close as probably I can think in recent times, probably Jojo Rabbit. I think it had that blend of humour, but also tragedy as well. Very heartbreaking moments as well. There's some heartbreaking moments in this film as well. I'm sure we'll get into when we're talking about our moments. Now, in terms of the writing, I thought it was superb, and I thought it's almost, dare I say it, and people will probably like, you don't know what you're talking about. This was borderline Coen Brothers. I felt the writing, the way the story was layered as well.
Leaving Arizona.
And I was very much like you, Ruth. When I saw the title, it's a very misleading and silly title. I thought it's going to be very Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels, and I felt, I don't know, and Amir Khan has got a funny face. He's got a cheeky little face. I love the guy, but he has got a cheeky little face. And I thought that's maybe the reason that I did keep away from it for so long. But when you get a community like ours, that will recommend films, they will mention films, and that film has been mentioned a couple of times over the last 12 months or so, and it's one of those titles that are going to stick in your head anyway. It's a very easy title to remember, certainly for us guys here in the West.
And there's three of us.
We did a review 3 weeks ago and I can't remember the title. I'm having to ask dear friend Ruth here, what was the title again? And I don't want to pronounce it again. 3 Idiots is a very easy title for us to remember. So in terms of writing, it was superb. It was layered. I like a good thought out story, and it was right up to the very end. It didn't get lazy near the end. It didn't drop off. Right up to the last 5 minutes, it was that twist of obviously him being the name that's revealed. We're doing spoiler here anyway. The film's old enough, we can do spoilers, but it was just that writing, the quality of writing didn't dip at any moment. There was so many relationships as well going on in this film, and everything was centred obviously to the Amir Khan's character, which I thought was great. He had a different relationship with each other actor and character, and I thought that was superb. Concerning moment near the sort of 3/4 mark, I felt, when the real guy who was in the photographs, who was Rancho, the real Rancho, I thought, don't tell me they're going down this road that he was an imaginary friend. Everyone had this imaginary friend called Rancho, and Amir Khan was an imaginary person. I was like, don't do this to me, because
this guy was larger than life.
Yeah,
very larger than life.
But again, it's that writing, it's all these little twists and how the characters are forming, where the story's going, and it's always taking you by surprise. Every 25 to 30 minutes there's another surprise coming in. One of the ones that sort of shocked me was the one near the end, Pia breaking her heart about her brother's death, and it totally took me by surprise.
You missed it.
I missed the dialogue, so I was even more shocked. I was like, what? And I thought, that's so tragic, and Kareena Kapoor's acting in that scene was fantastic, absolutely amazing.
Because obviously Professor Virus, is a professor, isn't he? He says to Rancho, no, it's not Rancho, it's the Alia Faisal character who ends up killing himself because of the pressure and disappointment, obviously, of being kicked out, of failing for another year. He explains to him that, I lost my son on the Sunday, I was into work on the Monday. He never ever really dabbled much further than that. He just says, I lost my son the Sunday, I was in the Monday, there's no excuses for you. At the end we get that payoff with that. They explain why the son had died, and it was that pressure. This guy was a bit of a toxic presence in a lot of these young people's lives. He was searching for excellence.
Karina was really good,
Yeah.
Karina was really good in that scene. She's actually known to be one of those actresses that's very mainstream, but has got a lot of depth in her acting. She can really do very good dramatic roles as well. I've seen her in some movies where, she will just knock your socks off on certain scenes. But in general, she's very mainstream Hindi movies.
And she was obviously the emotional anchor for the Rancho character. Rancho, as we didn't know as we were watching it, was living the life of another person. He was doing the study, the work for another person. He had no real connection. After he left the college, he was going to disappear. He couldn't let anyone know what was happening because he was obviously getting a degree for this guy who was, I think, dyslexic or something. She was the one thing that maybe held him. I wanted to keep him there because he was also in love with her. They were talking about getting married. He says, I can't marry you.
She had her own baggage as well. She had her own issues with this husband-to-be. And
the father?
He was the father more so. But
he hated him.
This husband-to-be was so superficial.
Yeah. He was, he's like one of those sort of Kardashian
could
types.
Not stand him.
Bit of a shithead. But she was the sort of link to that life he wanted, and maybe a reason for him to stay connected. Obviously he disappears, he's not in their lives for a while. That's the sort of premise as you go into this movie. What he says though about writing, I think what sums the writing up, Stephen, I don't think you can do a better bit of praise, if you'd like, a better connection than comparing it to the Coen brothers. I says they're leaving Arizona, it was raising Arizona with the great Nick Cage, and no one on this planet remembers how good Nicolas Cage was in the 80s and 90s. I do.
Yeah.
That guy was top tier. He's an Oscar-winning actor. He's treated as a joke now.
John,
he ain't no joke.
The three main characters in this did remind me of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That kind of relationship between the three of them.
But the Coen's ability, Stephen, to do some eccentric shit in a movie, some comedy stuff, but then it comes back tragedy, to dark and drama-driven. Yeah. And this is what they do in this. Raj Kapoor Hirani is the guy that wrote the screenplay. There was a couple others involved in the screenplay. Thought he'd done a brilliant job. And one of the aspects I really enjoyed was jumping into these adult versions of these characters. What is it, 10 years later or something? And it's lived in. You're not getting any context of why they're where they are. You see the writing on the wall. You're like, what's going on here? That knocks you for six coming into the movie. It hooks you. You have to then stay to get the payoff for why they're searching for this guy, why this has been written on the wall, why this little guy's trying to prove a point to this mysterious Rancho. Who's this Rancho character? And then they slowly fill it in as the movie goes on. All of his deeds, this personality.
That's a perfect way to describe it, John.
He's a huge persona. He's been a really good influence on these people. He saves the Raju character's dad. Mopeds him into the hospital. He saves his life in a sense. He's given inspiration. And I think that's probably, for me, the Rancho character's the most interesting character in the whole movie. He's a fundamentally good person. He's got all the right ideas. He's teaching the teachers about how to be around students and be a good influence. Also, the virus character's a complete twat. That's what I'm going to call him. But funny as well. I call him that, but he's funny. The trousers are up to his belly button, navel, whatever you want to call it. He's a bit of a joke figure. He's going to sleep and get
was
shaved.
Was that not Amir Khan doing an impression of
he did though, he did.
That was,
during the dance, the second
hilarious.
song and dance he did.
That's how I loved that, John. All those variations. You saw Amir Khan's
he was the news host,
how talented he is when he was doing all the different roles.
Yeah.
I thought that was, and when he did the dad and the trousers were away up,
the dancing the footwork was fucking exemplary. This guy can dance. There's nothing Amir can't do. He can put on 50 pounds of muscle. He can dance, he can act like hell. He's a cool looking guy. I like him, man. I like him a lot. Dangal for me is one of the best movies I've seen over the last couple of years, man. I thought he was absolutely brilliant as this sort of tough taskmaster father figure. But I thought the writing was brilliant. I thought the character development was there. I liked the way it was written. It was sort of slow drip, revealing who this Rancho character was, the influence he had. You had zany bits going on there, you had comedic bits going on there, you had really dark emotive moments, you had sort of human condition drama driven moments. It was a really interesting movie. It was really well written for me, and I think that's just going to get the whole story aspect away. The ending, we could speak about the ending before we go into standout moments, but for me that is a standout moment. The actual ending when they meet in this sort of deserty, I presume, North Indian place so in between. Is it the Himalayas?
Beautiful. Stunning.
Unbelievable place. Sort of spring water, pure aquamarine blue. That was we'll get into the ending. We'll get into standout moments just now. For me, there's a couple. There's 2 song and dance numbers. There's actually 3.
The song and dance numbers throughout are fantastic. They're really high quality.
Ali Fassal's short little dance. I love that song.
The guitar.
The guitar, he's playing the guitar, then it comes into a song.
That was really good, yeah.
And obviously you've got the sort of high energy, happy, bouncing about, quite jovial song and dance number. And if you Amir Khan's using the drone, he's flying it about. And then he goes up and you see also the character has hung himself.
Yeah, shocking.
And the change in tone is incredible. And I think that sums this movie up in a microcosm. You get really jovial, great dancing, lots of energy, you're happy. Then it turns within a second. And you're down the dumps. I try to save this guy.
On the wall, I quit. Yeah,
I quit. So Stephen, that's life. That one of the key themes exploring this is life, how hard life is. It's a rat race. The professor gives a great speech. And obviously Rancho cuts it short by saying, why didn't they use a pencil? But the speech he was giving out was true.
Did that cross
it's
your
a
mind?
Rat race.
You know when he asked that question about the ink in space, the first thing I thought was a pencil. I did think that. I used to go off on a tangent.
I think the Russians used a pencil.
Yeah. Yeah, because
but like he says in the movie that
in my younger days, I worked in a cold storage facility, and it was like minus 20 degrees. You couldn't take a pen and the ink would freeze, so you had to use a pencil. So I think that's why it stuck in my head. Use a pencil. But he did explain it well at the end.
Yeah, he did.
It was a good scene.
But just, I thought the themes. What was your thoughts, Ruth, and maybe the themes explored in this movie? Are you agreeing that it was in a sense about the harshness of life, the pressures on young adults growing up, becoming of age?
Yeah, especially in Indian society and in Asian society.
There's a real expectation.
It's a huge issue that academics, your marks, your grades in school, they matter so much. As those paper qualifications are huge importance is placed on them, and which can be very pressurizing. There were moments even in Asia, in Asia and even in India and all that, you hear of people committing suicide because of the fact that the pressure just gets to them. And they can't think anymore, and you're talking, these are people who are scoring in the 90s marks and still,
not good enough.
That's the kind of pressure it is, because that's what's expected. Every family, you have to be either a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or if you're a little bit lower, okay, a teacher might be respectable as well, and that's about it. Other than that, you pretty much, they don't support jobs that are in the arts or any of the, and then, which is very strange, because in the West you find that sometimes the people who do all the skilled jobs, like construction and plumbing, they are the ones that make the most money.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, absolutely. Plumbers are a joke.
But exactly. But in Asia or in India and all that, it's the direct opposite. People from these kinds of jobs they are regarded as menial tasks, and
that's crazy.
Not much emphasis is placed on that. So me personally growing up, I felt a lot of the pressure. If it wasn't for the fact that my parents were very different in the way, because my dad was a musician, so he had a very different outlook on life. Although they wanted us to be educated, and we did go that line, we were never forced to. I think that's why we were more relaxed in pursuing our career. We didn't feel that stress at home, but for a lot of my friends, that was not the case. It was really tough on all of them, and the parents were hard on them. And it's just, the parents don't mean to be that way, but
just mean that they want the best.
Fear of exactly. And like Madhavan's father in the movie, it's exactly like that. They're worried about what their bosses might say, what their relatives might say. Like, why is your kid not doing well, and
drop them out in the final year.
It's a lot of societal pressure is there, even for the parents, and that's the reason why they push the kids so much, because they're so worried their future is not, if it's not set in stone, it becomes a huge day. And so I think it's a very important message that needs to be shared. And also the way our education system, the whole thing hinging on exams and memorizing things and learning it takes all the fun and joy out of learning, because that's all you're you're worried about the exams and stuff. And there are a lot of people who are not I would say very good at taking exams, but they are brilliant people when you actually talk to them. It's just that they are not very good at exam taking. And not everyone that takes the exams and does very well in it is successful in life in terms of the job.
I think that's why the writing works very well for a Western audience that probably doesn't understand that sort of pressure coming from that side of the world. And I think that was all channeled through the Raju character, Shaman Joshi's character as well. I think that character was very important for the story, for people that weren't aware of the situation, the pressures of succeeding with your education and
also
obviously your career.
Family as well, Steve, being in poverty.
Yeah, it was sad,
he was the sort of hope for them to get out of it. So there was a lot of pressure. And then also with the Farhan character, the expectation to be an engineer. He didn't want to be an engineer.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a photographer, and obviously the Rancho character sees his work. He says, "You're really good at photography. You should do that. Drop engineering. Do what you love." But that's not the way it is, as you've just explained perfectly, Ruth. In that part of the world, there's real expectation to get a proper job and a proper part, a skilled part. Get a degree. I think at one point they say you need a degree. If you don't have that, you can't have a credit card. You don't have a social status. You have nothing. So that was a real theme for me in this. Personal happiness, perhaps over perceived success, if you'd like. Because at the end, they do it again at the end with the guy, the little guy, I don't know what his name is, who also does the speech and stuff. He's just flexing and boasting, "I'm more successful than you. You're just a teacher, A, B, C, D. You wanted to change the education system. Now all you're changing is a diaper." But he was a happier man, but he also had success as well. So he's perhaps not the best example to use. He was successful and happy. He had his cake and he ate it. But what he was trying to get through, I think the Rancho character in the whole movie, was do what compels you, do what you're passionate about, do what makes you happy. Don't go into a career avenue that you're not going to be happy in, just to make your parents happy and to show the world that they think you're more successful. So I thought that was an important thing. They did shine a light upon in this. And the Rancho character, man, some of the pearls of wisdom he's dishing out in this movie was fucking incredible, man. He's sitting in the stairs.
To be in his early 20s,
yeah, in his early 20s. And look, we'll get into that just now. Amir Khan was 44 in this movie, man.
Yeah, he looks really young,
He looks younger than me in that movie, man. He was 44. He's a joke. He's so youthful looking. It's incredible.
Yeah, he is.
As I said, the wisdom, he was the sort of, how shall I put it, mentor figure for everyone in this movie. The Raju character, the Farhan character, what was the girl's name? Try to find her name.
Yeah.
Was it Pia? He gets her to break up with that bitch of a would-be husband she's about to marry. He's just dishing out pearls of wisdom all over the place. He's a really wise head on a young body, if you'd like. That was one of the standouts for me. The other standouts, man, I'm trying to think off the top of my head here.
Yeah, John, do you know there was a line that really made me laugh, and it wasn't really a standout scene, but it was from the Farhan character when they were trying to they were gate crashing Pia's wedding this time, and they said he's not going to like us for gate crashing his other daughter's wedding as well. It's just that, I don't know, something about it just tickled me. Yeah,
those plates, man.
I know.
Jesus Christ, that's the way I eat. I ain't seen that in an Indian movie yet, man. People eating the way I eat.
Chatur.
They usually eat very normal. It's a normal portion size. I eat 3 portions.
Yeah, it's like a mountain. Yeah.
That's the way they were eating.
I'll tell you, one of the standout scenes for me was a really funny moment. It went on for about 4 or 5 minutes. Was the Chatur character, the silencer. It's a great name for him. Was his speech.
Oh yeah.
Just the way that they changed the words.
His name was Chatur?
Yeah, Chatur, silencer. He was a great little character, him. He was an annoyance, but he was so funny.
He was a complete opposite
but that
of
whole speech, and it had everyone on the floor laughing. That was sort of the sort of peak funny moment in the movie for me.
It's when they were cutting to the 3 friends, the 3 idiots, if you'd like, in the seats in there. Raju's just killing himself laughing. He's looking back in disbelief. What's going on here? The professor, his sort of cohorts are all laughing. He's deadly serious. He kicks him in the arse at one point and forces him off the stage. I was howling at that. That's why the professor, he's a bit of a bastard at times, and also he's responsible for a death, 2 deaths, potentially another death, but obviously Raju gets saved. But he's funny as well at times. Just this concept of him sleeping to get his face shaved and groomed and stuff, and some of the antics he get up to. Also when they're peeing on his front porch at one point, I mean, you can respect him trying to kill them. Just the sort of cat and mouse between those 3 and that professor at times, him going into the room to profess his love, because it'll get them to come out their shells and do what they feel compelled by. They're saying, look, if you go and speak to her and say you love her, I'll tell my dad I want to be a photographer. And he'll say, I'll do this, blah, blah, blah. I thought that was a good moment. Again, it was Rancho. Obviously, speaking about the education stuff and the pressures, I thought one of the standout moments for me was Farhan going home and saying to his father and his mother, look, I want to be a photographer. It was a really emotional moment for that character. He's begging his father pretty much, look, I've done everything you've told me for years. Can you now let me be what I want to be, in a sense of paraphrasing?
Exactly.
A really special moment.
And you can see he has got a lot of respect for the father, because, that's actually part of the reason, because there's a lot of very strong family bond issues that you deal with in Indians and Asian kind of homes, because there's a lot of like we would say filial piety, or respect that you have for family and home, that sometimes it can be a deterrent, or it could stand in the way of you doing what you want to do in life, because you're so afraid that you let somebody down, for all the sacrifices that they've made. So that's it's very well portrayed, that how the importance should have been placed on whether or not he is happy about the future he wants to set for himself, rather than being worried about whether it is successful in terms of monetary gain.
He says that, doesn't he? So I may have slightly less money, I may have a slightly smaller house, a slightly smaller car.
Yeah.
Maybe a degree of concern in the actual Farhan's character's head as well. That if I do pursue this career in photography, it may be my passion, but maybe I won't be successful. So maybe there was a slight doubt in his head as well. Maybe I should go to engineer. We're putting it all on the actual mother and father.
I think that's why they inserted that letter that was received, that he got the job offer of being the assistant. I think that was an important little bit of information, to sort of take that sort of burden away from that scene for him, so there was no doubt in getting into that sort of confrontation with his father. And it was a nice scene, and I liked the fact that the father closed the sort of the lid on the laptop, and you're thinking, I don't think he's bought this. I think he's going to be very stubborn here, but he wasn't. He said, "Can you trade it in for the camera?" That was and you can see Matt Daven in the background, just breaking down. He's just bursting into tears. It was
so grateful.
Such a great piece of acting. For
again,
both of them.
You've seen a different aspect of Madhavan in this. In Vikram, Beda, he was this sort of tough line copper, the good and the sort of moral side, the moral compass, if you'd like. Vijay Sethupathi was a bit of he was a rogue, a maverick on the other side. To see him as a younger form, completely different looking. Couldn't believe it was him. When I searched up, I'm like, Farhan Madhavan, you fucking what? That is not Madhavan. That is not that guy. That guy's a unit. I've seen him. He's got muscles coming out of every single square millimetre in his body. Can't be him, but it was, and it showed you another aspect to his acting. He's an incredible actor, man.
He came in as this very, he came in as a more of a pretty boy, a romantic movie hero.
Did he do that? Is that the start?
And I mean, but he was good in that for a while, and then after that he just started doing more and more serious projects.
It reminds me of Michael Pena for some reason in these early films. I don't know what it is. He's got that kind of...
He's kind of got that sort of...
immature humour about him, and silliness, And
speaking about immature humour and silliness, we'll get into some of Amir Khan's antics in this. The electrification of the piss. That was nice. And not only that, but the fact he passes it on to the young kids at the end, I thought that was brilliant. And just that in general, man, I liked that ending. Getting off on a slight virgin tangent here. I liked that ending. The fact that was sort of his entire life's work was put into this school out in the sticks. He was teaching these kids a different way, a more chilled, free-spirited way of education, and they seem to be quite happy in that school. They were all bouncing about.
I like the fact that you see everyone have an arc and everybody change, even Virus and everybody else. They had a bit of a change in their character. The Virus
change was brilliant, by the way.
But exactly. But the only person you find throughout the entire movie that didn't learn a little bit of anything at all was
it the silencer?
Was the silencer? The silencer. Because his character had zero arc in terms of progress, and it was unique to see that, because that was a message in itself. As much as you try to educate people in life, there will always be some people who will just not change.
Exactly.
They will just be stuck in that whatever it is
it's
that
like
they
you said,
have.
Ruth.
in their head.
You can
Who will be superficial. Yeah.
Yeah, some people can be really successful in academia. They can pass all the exams, but then they're not necessarily successful because they're not a well-rounded human being. They excel in one aspect of life, but they don't excel in the other, maybe social and other aspects. And then that's almost the science of character there, for me, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Very academically driven, a bookworm, driven in the test, top of the class. Well, no, not top, because Rancho was better, much to his annoyance. But then he gets outside, he's a really immature guy, he's flexing over people that are realistically, emotionally, and in every way better than him. He's trying to flex over Rancho, and Rancho's like, bitch, I'm a scientist. I'm educating these kids in a way that he says to me jokes, as I says before, he wanted to change the education system. Well, he did. He's teaching these kids a different way. They're enjoying the learning. That's like you said, Ruth, there's pressure on school over in certain parts of the world. They can't really enjoy the learning because they're having to study, cram to pass the exams that mean everything.
Because you understand, like he says, you don't understand the reason for what is it that you're studying. You don't enjoy the learning process, and that's the saddest part, because education is a very powerful tool, and it's the journey of in your educational life can be so much more wonderful if you would just learn it in terms of enjoying the whole process rather than having to be so pressured and afraid of failure. And unfortunately, I mean, it is changing. It's a lot more better now, but in general it's still very regimented, the learning process, that it's very difficult to learn in another kind of way, and which is very sad.
Well, we just look to the Scandinavians. They're doing it over here in Norway and in Sweden and Denmark. They're always the best at everything, those bastards, and they're changing the education system. It's sort of play by learning at the start. Then they start they emotionally mature the kids, and then
the
they're
literacy
ready.
rates are so high. Exactly. And if you were to do the stats on it, I think Sweden, the literacy rates are like,
I mean,
like
Sweden's just a
charts,
joke of a country all across the board. They're just amazing. Everything. They're tall, they're handsome, they've got blue eyes, they're just perfect.
Right,
everything they do. But man, Sweden, the Scandinavian countries have got it right with education and stuff. Also, they brought it over here, Stephen, you'll know about this, we're going off on tangents. There was some resistance to it over here. People weren't too happy about the whole learning system they're trying to implement.
But it's that way, isn't it? It's change. A lot of people don't like change, they're very conservative. And
that's this movie.
You've got the proven stats that it's a successful way of teaching, so why not, imply it? But, and
that's this movie, Stephen. You see that clash with the professor and Rancho?
Yeah, you do, yeah.
He tries to explain to him the answer to a question. He does it in a different form, a more laid back, I don't know what you'd call it, a different form. And then you've got also the silencer. He's bookworm. He gives it out and it's inch perfect.
There's a great example with obviously the Rancho character making up those two words and putting it on the blackboard, and they're all trying to. It's like a race. It's more like a race than an education. And it was a great scene. It was a great message. Yeah, and that's what I like about this movie.
Nobody's supposed to think.
That's what I like about the movie, man. It's really laugh out loud moments. It's quite silly and eccentric in moments. But then you've got that really serious core message getting put out about education, the effects of pressure on kids, how it's not healthy, it's damaging, it's taking lives. If you just change the way you learn, people can still succeed, they can be emotionally happy, and the whole world will be better if you just do it.
And it's very important to question things in life, not just blindly follow everyone. Just because everybody else is doing it, you need to question things in life. You need to question the reason behind what is it that you're learning, what is it that you're doing, and I think that's another lesson that's being taught there. Just don't be sheep, think for yourself. So we got
a comment in from Sharma. I'm going to do my best to read it. My parents are old school Asian parents, and that's how they taught us, just get the grades, but they ruined the fun of learning for us and had no clue.
Should be fun,
with what was going on in class. I'm sorry, I can barely read it. I've got a ring light the size of the fucking moon
and you're not wearing glasses, John.
I'm not wearing my glasses. I've got astigmatism in my left eye. I should be wearing glasses. You can't wear glasses in this setup because you'll not see me because of the size of the Buzz Aldrin moonlight. And yes, I'm going to say Buzz Aldrin because at one point fucking Virus says, who was the first man in the moon? Neil Armstrong, who was the second? You don't know, it doesn't matter. I fucking know, it was Buzz Aldrin, bitch. I do know who was the second man on the moon. Don't speak for me.
I think the point of that was,
settings, but no good. It's first or nothing. It was like that song. What was it? Fuck, there was a song.
Do you know there was another standout moment in this, that standout scene that I liked was the giving birth scene.
Yeah, that was a really.
I thought that was really. Yeah. It showed their sort of engineering side, their skills, how they can work together as well. It was a bit unorthodox, but it was interesting. It showed, I think, for the first time, it showed them all working in the same direction. They're all working together, and I think that was the first time Virus. Is that his name, yeah?
Cyrus the
Virus saw that.
It's going there.
Goodness and
that they were really learning. Exactly, he was adapting what he was learning. And how often do you have people who can actually do that, which is why there are a whole huge number of people that are they do very well in school, but then in the actual workforce they don't stand out at all. But ironically, the people who are the most successful in life in their jobs, if you really trace it back, a lot of them, they didn't really do very well in school. Or,
there's multiple cases of that. Over here, Sir Arnold Clark was dyslexic, dropped out of school. Now owns a huge car company. He's a multi-millionaire, potentially billionaire. I think Bill Gates. There was a couple of ones
gaining the knowledge rather than just passing the exams.
Maybe Bill Gates didn't drop out, but there was someone else dropped out. Was it Steve Jobs or something like that dropped out and started up a company? These guys have got borderline Asperger's, so these guys are just incredibly intelligent and they're very driven in a specific way. It's the same as Elon Musk. Sort of, there's a name for it, neurodivergent, and they're really driven in a certain way. So you can't really use it as an example. Those guys would be a fucking success no matter what they did. But see that scene as well, that pregnancy scene. I think that again, as you did say, Ruth, he's learning on the job. He's adapting. He's learning. Again, that is another message hitting home that if you can work together, you can be adaptive. Is that the right word? I don't know. It's just again showing you how you can do things differently. If you're really structured and you follow the rules, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. But if you can be really adaptive in a situation, then 9 times out of 10 it will work. And again, try to hit that message home to that Virus guy. It did. He gave him the pen. I thought that was a beautiful moment.
It was good, yeah.
Exactly.
He thought he was going to give him into trouble. He gives him the pen. He's like, I can't believe it. Learn and get out. I think he says, finish your lessons and get out.
How many times did damn near can tear up in this film?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. When Raju comes back from the coma, and he hugs and he's crying. Amir Khan's crying as well. He's a great actor. I need to watch more of Amir's movies. Not Thugs of Hindustan though. That was the movie I was talking about. We reacted to it and people says it was a flop. It was a disaster. It was
one of our first reactions and people were going, what are you doing, guys?
Shams says, I love that giving buff scene from I can't read, sorry, to showed. Stephen, can you read this? Can you see this right in front of you?
I love that giving buff scene too. Showed creativity and innovation with the intellect. The intellect is fine, but you can't put it into practice. That's basically what Ruth just said.
Just summed it up perfectly there. Intellect's fine, but if you can't.
I think that's why the likes of that character, Chatur, the silencer guy, struggles in real life. As educated as he is, he just doesn't have any common sense about him. He's rhyming off big cars, big houses, and clothing that he wears and stuff like that. None of that really matters to. I mean, they're actually laughing at this guy.
I do like the clothes I wear though.
The thing is that he never learned that lesson even at the end or so. All he actually learned was that because you see at the end of it, right, even when he agrees that he lost, it's like he didn't learn anything at all, even at that moment, because the only reason why he respected Amir Khan's character was because so if he hadn't been that level of success and all those money and famous scientists and having all the patents and stuff, he still wouldn't have learned the lesson that it's not about those things. Success is not about those things. Success is more about how happy you are, how many people you have in life. Exactly.
You can have the money in the house, but you need to be emotionally successful as well. You need to look, before we've seen it, I know a specific family member, a tragic figure. I can't even speak. I can't speak. Figure. I'm saying flubber. That's a Robin Williams movie from the 1990s that I loved very much as a kid, but I bet has aged terribly now if I go back and watch it. There was a figure in my family. It was like that. He was a multi-millionaire, millionaire, but emotionally, they had nothing. He never had any real family around him. And he's a tragic figure, a brilliant guy, but that's probably the best example I can think of in a real term in my life. If maybe this silencer character, he's almost like him. Career, very successful. Everything else, not so much. You need a balance. That's what I'm saying. You need a balance.
Yeah,
but
you need a balance, yeah.
Other standout moments, the coma. That was a good moment. The father getting driven in with the moped, I like that.
I was going to actually talk about him because I was actually asking Ruth at the start of the show. I actually thought he was the virus character, Parikshit Sani. He is 97 years old and he's still alive just now.
Wow.
That
he's
guy,
eating well.
Yeah. He didn't have much to do in this film apart from sit in the middle.
How good was that flashback? That sort of story.
The sort of
I'd love to build that moped with you again, and he's there.
He's
kind of looks the old father's in between Pierre, I think it is, in Rancho, and he kind of looks, and it's like a shake. I'm like, what the fuck is
so
that?
funny, yeah.
And then there's another moment where he's trying to coax Raju out of the coma, and he says, "Your father's recovered." He's on the moped, and it shows you him on the moped like that. And that's what I'm talking about in this movie. There's some really funny visual stuff going on. There's some really laugh out loud moments. Then you've got serious stuff. It's like a Coen's brother movie, Stephen. You absolutely fucking nailed it.
I think they blended the comedy and the drama really well. And see, that's what it is. At the end of the day, you can't. Those aren't genres that are easy to mix, but. But at the same time, this movie is an example of how if you do it right, it can be, fantastic.
Yeah, it is. Second song, that's another standout for me. I like that song. Big band jazz style, I said. A hilarious visual experience.
The Zooby-Doo song.
Amir Khan's different personalities. He's on the TV, he's a weather forecaster, then he's the professor. He's dancing about, and again, as I said earlier, it showed his dancing skills. It just that Pia and Rancho.
It was like a full-on MGM musical production.
Wasn't it? It was brilliant.
That's Pia's obsession, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I says. Pia's infatuated with Rancho. That's kind of the core theme getting explained there. And as I said previously, she is the sort of emotional connection to that world for Rancho, because Rancho ain't Rancho. He's another guy, and he's going to have to disappear out this world because he can't explain what the fuck's going on.
See, when they pulled her away from her wedding, and then in the car they said, "We don't know if he's married."
Single or not.
I didn't even think of that. So
we knew he was going to be single. To be fair,
Yeah.
he was not meeting anybody else. Let's be honest. He is great a guy as he was, and as full of wisdom as he was. He's sort of that kind of personality.
He got a tunnel vision.
Yeah, he's kind of that personality. So we knew when we got to the end. Speaking of the end, that he would be single. I loved the ending.
Yeah, it was good.
I loved it on a visual level. That scenery of them driving the mountains, the sort of spring water.
Yeah.
It's a place I want to go and visit.
The scenery is amazing.
Am I right in saying, Ruth, that is it Tupaki? Was it Tupaki? Or was it another one where telepathy ends in this sort of mountainous region? He's on the bite or something.
We did the reaction for the musical number at that point, didn't we? Yeah.
It's a similar. It seems like a similar region. It's sort of like Chinese, Indian, sort of Himalayan sort of region. I'm pretty sure it's the same place. It looks a stunning
Nepal, place. Yeah, maybe closer to the Nepal.
It strikes me as where perhaps the Beatles went with the Maharishi Yogayesh back in the 1960s up in the Himalayas. It looks like an incredible place. I'd love to go to it. It's never going to happen unless I win the lottery. I'd love to go.
It's really nice to see in movies, Indian movies especially, because they show you a lot of India, and sometimes they just show you all those the greedy parts of India that people tend to forget. That at least the world over, people tend to forget that there are such beautiful places in India as well.
It's absolutely huge.
Like it's a very the dichotomy that you see between the really greedy places and the beautiful. India has actually a lot of depth to it, and a lot of discovery. A lot of things that people have yet to really discover outside of India. There are a lot of people living in ignorance.
I want to go to the Bay of Bengal, because my good friend who stayed in Hyderabad, is that how you say it, Hyderabad in Andhra Pradesh, he went back home. His father sadly passed away, and they had the funeral on the Bay of Bengal, and he showed me photos. I have to go to the Bay of Bengal one of these days. It's an incredible country. I love India, man. I've been obsessed with it for years in terms of the culture, the food. Just the way the country's incredible. The different sort of regions. You've got the sort of lovely north stuff with the Himalayas. You've got down south, it's tropical. All these different regions. Just an incredible country. Me and Stephen share a love of India. Stephen, you love the food as well. It's just something about it. It's a special place, and the fact that I actually know a guy from India, and obviously yourself now, Ruth. But speaking to Praveen, man, it was incredible. The stuff he told me about it, the pan of puree, the foods, everything. I'm going off in a fucking rabble here, but I love the place. That's what I'm saying. So I like seeing different parts of it. But if we get anything else, the black and white shot, you mentioned it, Stephen. That's probably the last standout moment for me, I would have said.
John, they're trying to add that kind of artistic humour to a really tragic situation, and I think that was the best way to sort of execute it, because it was a sad setup. Obviously, the mother and father. You know, the father was in such a state. You know, the mother. You just try to hold everything together. You know, and the pressures. Obviously, you know, that were on Raju as well.
Sure, it has set up. Yeah,
it was something that had to be shown, so you understood.
What
and it hit home, just the pressures that were on that lad.
Yeah,
you know, and the pressure for him to succeed.
And that's why he was perhaps the most serious of the three. Yeah. They were ribbing him about walking away, and he wasn't getting the jokes and stuff. He couldn't get the jokes because he had to succeed.
Yep.
It was life or death for his family. So he understood it, and look, that'll get into performances, man, on that note.
Yeah.
This is a hard one. As good as Amir Khan is, and he probably is a standout performer on a purely screen time level, and just what he was doing. He's an amazing actor. But look, Sham and Joshi,
as well, John.
Kareena Kapoor.
Yeah.
I thought that they were all pretty damn good, man. I'm going through the list here. Obviously, Madhavan, as we said, was incredible.
They all did very well.
Yeah.
And the Professor, I'm pretty sure he doesn't act like that in real life, so that's a pretty good sort of performance for a borderline villainous character. But he's a villain in the sense you'd see in a kids movie. He's not like, oh my god, this guy's going to kill us. He's a sort of Cruella de Vil kind of villain.
The moustache.
When he had his moustache, kind of on that level. He's not like a murderous villain. He was a good villain for this movie. He's what was required for this movie.
Imagine someone shaving you when you're sleeping though for 7 minutes.
I wouldn't want anybody shaving me, period. I wouldn't trust anybody near me with a blade.
Yeah, exactly.
No fucking chance. I'll shave myself, aren't you? So it was a strange character, but it was a good performance. For me, it is Amir Khan. I'm not going to beat about the bush. It's Amir Khan because it's Amir Khan. It's his movie. Yeah. He's the man. He's one of the best actors I've seen. He's just he's played totally different characters really here, and Dangal and this. I want to go into this guy's back catalogue as well because he's fucking massive, and he's done so many amazing movies. So for me, it's him. But Madhavan, we've seen Madhavan before. I enjoyed his performance as Farhan. Probably the most emotional moment in the whole movie was with him.
Yeah, exactly.
And Sham and Joshi. So for me, it's those three with obviously Kareena Kapoor flung in. Who wants to go next?
Amir Khan's here, and everyone is here. Everyone else is here. That's how close it is. Yeah. And the only reason I'm putting Amir Khan just slightly above him is because he does carry the film. It's important that his character works. Does, and as I said earlier, you know, his character has to interact differently with all the other characters and different scenarios. He's got a different relationship for everyone in this film, and that's why you bring someone like Amir Khan in. It was interesting. I was actually reading the trivia to this film earlier, and Shah Rukh Khan rejected this role, and when he saw the film, he referred to himself as the fourth idiot for not signing up for this film. I thought that was but that's the kind of standard of actor you need for this kind of film.
A single Shah Rukh Khan movie. We need to address it. John? We need to address it. I need to watch a Shah Rukh Khan movie. I have to watch a Shah Rukh Khan movie. Not seen one.
Yeah, we will.
Not one. What's your standout performer though, Ruth? If you've got one.
Yeah, of course, yes, Amir Khan without a doubt. But I think for this everybody did a really, really good job. But yeah, I think for me the standouts were Amir Khan, Sharma Joshi, and Kareena Kapoor.
Yeah.
And so those their moments were really great in the whole movie. And so I really liked, of course, Amir Khan the best in terms of the fact that he's carrying the movie, but I don't think the others were far behind, like Steven says. They were all like quite close.
I loved Madhavan.
Yeah, Madhavan. Yeah.
I thought his opening scene was fantastic on the plane. The way he got off that plane.
Yeah, that was the start. That was the start. Yeah,
it's the way he leaped out of that wheelchair.
Really
he was at it. He was cutting on. He was not well, but he just used that to get the plane to divert back.
And then he used someone's ride. It wasn't even his cab.
Yeah. I'm just looking at IMDb just now. I didn't realise there was a maps function in IMDb. I'm looking at.
I didn't know that either.
Looking at Mumbai.
Okay.
Incredible. That's where Amir Khan's from. They're saying Bombay. It's not Bombay anymore.
Also, a little bit of trivia. I'm not sure whether you know, but the remake of this movie in Tamil was acted by Thalapathy Vijay.
Oh, was it?
They named it. The movie was called Nanban, which is friends, and so Vijay acted in the Amir Khan's role.
We might need to look at that just to compare. That's the dream. You see the differences, the similarities, how Telepathy's taking on the Amir. Because I can totally see Telepathy playing that role. And you've said that before, Ruth. If they're ever sort of remaking Telepathy Tamil movies for the North, I think you said yourself the only actor you could really see portraying that kind of role with the same presence and just the multi-layered performance would be Amir Khan.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like the Telepathy of the North for me, without having seen anyone else. Shah Rukh Khan, Ajay Devgan, people like that. I've only ever seen Ranveer Singh.
I think,
and Shahid Kapoor.
Because, I think Amir Khan can do it pretty well because Amir Khan has got a kind of a combination where he can do comedy and he can do drama like really well. Both
he's got that very physical stuff going on as well. Because he did a lot of things like that.
He can do
Exactly. Well, do you know something? That's another piece of trivia that's in the film about Amir Khan's character. He doesn't stay still the whole film.
No.
He doesn't sit down, and when he's standing up, he's always pacing up and down. I didn't realise that till I read that.
Well, that makes sense because all of these other characters are fixed in this world. They're real. They have real names. They belong there. He doesn't really belong there, and he didn't for the whole movie. They explain he was this little kid. He wore this guy's uniform. He flitted in and out of different classes.
He was into people's lives.
Literally, exactly. And literally was doing it all the studying for the pure joy of studying.
And again, that's the message.
If only that's the message is that is the type of student you're supposed to be.
It's for the joy of learning.
If you are, then you'll truly be successful.
No matter what.
And you'll be truly knowledgeable as well.
Yeah. And that's the key theme for me in this whole movie. Don't be a bookworm, just go in, submerge yourself in it, learn, be successful internally first, then you'll almost always be successful outwards. Technical stuff. Cinematographer Seiki Muralidharan. Maybe you can correct me there, Ruth. I'm pretty sure I've not said that right. Muralidharan.
Correct.
I like the cinematography, man. It captured all the little, how shall I put it? There was little moments in this movie, little facial gestures, little movements, as you says. Amir Khan doesn't sit still for a single moment, and they captured it brilliantly. The drone stuff, the way they capture the song and dance stuff, just some of the aspects, some of the tricks that were used. I thought it was very well shot by Mula Ridaran. Composing, there was 3 composers. I liked the music in this movie. I did. I liked that a lot. Thought it was pretty good. Shantanu Moitra is who I'm going to call the composer. There's 3 though.
Yeah, the cinematography for me as well. Just because you're talking about the composing, John, sometimes I think those go hand in hand. I think when you get a film like this where you're on a lot of locations, and I thought some of the driving sequences were, it was absolutely stunning. You need a good score for that as well, and it marries well with it, and I thought it just complemented the visuals. But I think you're absolutely right. The technical side of things in terms of editing as well. For comedy, you have to get your editing right for comedy because it's all about timing, and
Rashkumar Hirani.
Yeah.
That was the editor.
Yeah, it did really well. Some quick cuts, very your man does Hot Fuzz.
Edgar Wright-ish,
yeah. I thought there was a lot of sort of that kind of themes happening in there as well.
I don't think you can play a higher compliment. I can't even speak tonight. I said plain steady pay. It's not that strong, that beer. It's just me. I've had a mare all day. I don't think you can pay a higher compliment to a movie that is 2 hours and 50 minutes long than to say that it was perfectly edited. You couldn't really cut a scene out. I wouldn't have cut a single scene out in this movie. It's nearly 3 hours long. That's the highest compliment.
I didn't want the film to end. I was that engrossed in
I've not even spoke about this. I've not even spoke about this aspect. I meant it earlier on. Just the fact that the modern day Rancho is off screen until maybe the last 5 minutes, 6 minutes in the movie.
He's the Luke
They're
Skywalker.
looking for this guy.
Force Awakens, yeah.
Yeah, he's like the Luke Skywalker, absolutely right. And you're left waiting to see this guy. Where is he? We have a false reunion when the funeral's happening for the real Rancho. He's sitting there like, is that him? But then we have to wait right to the very last 10 minutes of the movie to see actual Rancho, whatever his name is. I don't actually know his name. It's a scientist. I forgot it. And I just thought that was
Wangadu.
I just thought Wangadu. I just thought that was a really intelligent way to structure the movie. Because if you weren't connecting like I was with this movie, the desire to see Rancho, modern day, what is he doing?
Mm-mm.
Why has he kept himself away from everyone? I thought that was really intelligent the way they edited it. So hats off to the script, the screenwriter, Raj Kamur Harani, and the other 3 people, and the editor. I thought it was very technically accomplished. What was your thoughts on it, Ruth, though, before we get into final thoughts? If you have any.
Yeah, I thought the editing was really well done. I mean, it's amazing that Rajkumar Hirani not only directed, wrote the movie, and he edited it as well.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I think maybe he
edited it as well.
him.
Jesus Christ, he directed, wrote, and edited the movie. That's insane. I didn't even pick up on that, Ruth.
It's like
Jesus Christ.
That's how he's only directed 6 films.
That's incredible. He's only directed 6 movies.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it.
That's equivalent
incredible.
of 18 films.
That is almost Edgar Wright-esque.
Yeah.
You mentioned
Yeah.
Edgar Wright. He likes to get hands-on. He almost shoots the movies. He edits it. He's known for his quick cuts. That's Edgar Wright-esque. That's very impressive to me. Wow. I didn't even connect the dots there, Ruth. Sorry I interrupted you.
no, it's
I cannot believe he
It's
fucking
fine.
edited that movie as well, wrote and directed it. That's insane to me. Wow. Well done. I know what I'm giving this movie. I'm getting on to the final thoughts already here. Shall we round it up?
Yeah, okay.
Shall I go first for a change?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll go first for a change. I really enjoyed this movie, man. I didn't know what to expect getting in. I had an idea it was a kind of coming of age set up. I know that I knew that the bigger channels had been reviewing it as well, so I knew it must have had something about it, because they're obviously pushing for those views, you know what I mean? If they're touching it, they don't touch anything, these channels, unless there's some, I don't know, reward in it for them. And obviously the reward is watching Amir Khan and Madhavan at play. And obviously I'm not going to do a disservice to Sharman Joshi and Kareena Kapoor. I'll mention them as well. But for me, knowing that Madhavan was in there and Amir Khan, that was what really drew me to this movie. Because I know how good Amir is. I've seen him in Dangal. I've been impressed with this guy. And trailer reactions, not even watching the movie, just the trailer reactions, the performance comes through. There's one where he plays a sort of strange character. I watched it. I can't recall the name of the movie. People asked us to react to it. I'll find it at the end. I'm sure I will. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was exquisitely written, and a technical level, really enjoyed it. The performances were there. It was just the way they I mean, I've got it in my prose here. I'll write with my prose, because I'm sure when I wrote it at 3:30 in the morning, I'd done it a little bit more eloquently than I'm doing now at 7 minutes to 11, because that's the way my brain works. I perform better the later it gets. The way they balanced the emotions, I thought it was perfect for me. You had euphoric moments, sad moments, laugh out loud moments for levity. You had borderline drama, human condition stuff going on in there. It perfectly balanced it. It was like a Waititi sort of set up, the way they balance things. Yeah. Albeit Taika does it in one scene. I really enjoyed it, and for me, I am going to go ahead and give this, I'm giving it a B, and that fucking graphic just will not centre. I'm giving this movie a B. That's how much I liked it. Pressure's on you now to give your ratings. On you go. Who wants to go next? Ruth, I'll let you go next then. Stephen's pointing to you.
Okay, for me. For me, it was very well written, a very well told story, and I loved the wonderful mix of the comedy and the serious message. You know, it was a very, I think, a very powerful way of presenting a serious message like that through comedy. And if done wrong, it could have gone like really wrong. And it could have been very slapsticky. And I like the way, you know, all the twists and turns in between. It just added to, you know, the intense storytelling, that there was a build up. It's like first it started out like a very casual film, and then, you know, it just kind of built and built, and then you realize that, you know, there is actually a really deep, strong message hidden in, and just not just one message, but like several messages that are kind of hidden in the entire movie. And I thought, it was a very gripping way to tell a story like that through laughter.
Yeah.
And of course, Amir Khan's performance, without a doubt, excellent as usual. And all the other actors also, I think they did a really, really good job. It was nice to see that even the music supported the movie really well. I loved the big jazz number.
I didn't expect that.
It really reminded me of a full-on production.
It was like Michael Bublé in Christmas, which is coming.
The music was very nice.
I thought you liked Michael Bublé.
And the songs, the All Is Well song and the Video song was very catchy as well. It's like when I remember when I watched it, it's like the music kept like humming in my head.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It just goes on. Yeah, so it's one of those kind of films.
It was.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. Yeah, so for me, this movie was really enjoyable to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those movies, I wouldn't mind watching several times.
Yeah, you could definitely watch this.
Absolutely. So definitely, I'm giving it a B as well.
B, boom. Hopefully, it's centered now. I don't know why these graphics keep getting out of centre. Stephen, final thoughts.
It's going to be very hard to follow up what you guys have said, other than repeat what you guys have said, because I totally agree with everything that you just spoke about, because I think it's one of those unique films that you talk about the balance, the tone, they get it right, and as you said, Ruth, if you get that wrong, it can come across offensive because some of the issues that are involved in this film. So I think the writing in this was very important. The fact that this guy Rajkumar Hirani did the writing, editing and the directing.
I think they bumped up to a B+ for me, that
was phenomenal. I understand why he's only done 6 films, because he obviously dedicates a lot of time in his films, and you can see it in this. And I think the investment is paid off. You talk about rewatchability, definitely. This is a film I want to go back and watch again for the performances. Very strong cast. It was very hard when I was watching this. 2 hours and 50 minutes. Did not take a break. Sat and watched it start to finish. Loved it. Messaged John right away and said, "This is a really good film." By the way, didn't want to get into too much of obviously what was going down. But Amir Khan. This is our second film. Just John and I have seen this guy in, and both very highly rated performances in our book in terms of Dangal and Three Idiots. I want to see more of this guy because this guy is absolutely superb. I can see why a lot of people love him, love his films, and you can see it rubs off on the other actors as well. And that's not doing them a disservice, because they were a very high caliber acting as well. They don't need Amir Khan, that's what I'm saying, but Amir Khan is like the cherry on top of the cake. But I think for me, there wasn't a moment I was bored. There wasn't a moment that I thought they could skip by and cut out or anything like that.
I said that
every scene, every element was important in this film, and I really did enjoy it. And I can understand why it was 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb.
Absolutely.
I'm going to rate this a B+.
Oh, Stephen just gave it a B+.
Move that nice high praise from you.
I tell you, Stephen, I was very close to getting it a B+ as well, and the reason I was close to giving it a B+
me too,
was the director, directing, and writing.
Phenomenal,
That is a lot to take on, and I've got respect.
There's a lot of dedication, to a film.
He's obviously connected with the novel that he's adapted that you mentioned. I think it was 5. What the hell was it called? 5 Point of Someone. 5 Point Someone.
Mm-hmm.
He's also read it, and he's been really attached to it. Also, it's the concept of this education and the damage it's doing to generations of people. They're killing themselves, and he's also wanted to get that out. And I've said it time and again with Indian movies, South or North, they do a really good job of highlighting societal wills, shining a light on these issues, and educating people.
There are other movies of his also that you should actually watch, like PK and Munabai MBBS.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do more Amir Khan movies. He's a fantastic actor. That's 2 movies now, 2 totally different roles, totally different characters, totally different acting, vibes, everything, and he's been outstanding in both. So we absolutely do have to dabble. And he's, as you did say, he's a telepathy enough for me. Yeah, so that's as high praise as I can give, because telepathy is a man down south. Some would say Regina Cam, some would say Mahanlal, but I'm saying telepathy, so come at me, bitches. And I know enough about Indian cinema now that you can come at me and I'll fucking skill you. So come at me now. That's all I'm going to say. Come at me. Because I'm telling you now, Prabhudev is the best dancer in the south, and Telepathy's the best all-round performer in the south. So come at me if you've got anything to say about that. But that's going to round it up. Only took me 6-7 months to get that confident and comfortable in Indian cinema that I can say come at me bitches when I make a statement, because I know they will come at me if they see it. That's absolutely fine. I'll take you on all day long. That's going to round it up, man. What's your thoughts on Three Idiots? I see that Shams was in the comments there. I missed it. I think she says, or he says, I don't know if it's a he, she. Shams, whatever you are. You may be non-binary. You may be, I don't know, a fucking alien from Jupiter. Because my dog's in Jupiter just now. He's on diazepam because of the fireworks. Have you heard the fireworks? That's what I want to know. If you've been here, can you hear the fireworks, Ruth? Because you'll obviously hear our audio feeding in. Have you not heard any bangs? Because we've been banging. Bang bang, you shut me down. Bang bang, I hit the ground.
We haven't.
Shams, along with all these fucking webcam
spam
comments, it says, you've now made me want to rewatch 3 Idiots. So
brilliant.
Thank you for that. That's high praise indeed.
Yeah.
You can comment below and join Shams if you want to share your thoughts on 3 Idiots on our review, if you've got anything to say at all. The comment section is the place to put the comments. Who would have thought it? You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it. Dislike it if you've hated it. Either way, it draws traffic to our channel and we're fucking happy. And we're rubbing our hands. And you can also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon. Follow us over on Twitch as well. It should have been on Twitch. Finally. 2 weeks later. And that's how you enable the content for future events such as these. Regardless of what you do though, we are done. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.